Welcome to Shab-e Yalda 2021. My name is Persis Karim. I'm delighted to share this beautiful Iranian holiday with you, Shab-e Yalda, which commemorates the longest night of the year, the arrival of winter, and the retreat into darkness, but also the celebration of light and togetherness. And you can see this beautiful table in front of us, which is full of wonderful food that is harvested in the fall, and we eat it at this time of the year to remember the beauty of the summer and the fall harvest. Tonight we're going to celebrate with you by reading some poetry, listening to some music, and sharing a little bit about this beautiful tradition and why we brought it to you. This is an event that's a collaboration between Diaspora Arts Connection and the Center for Iranian Diaspora Studies. And I'm delighted to have two guests with us. Ariana Vafadari from Paris, France, who's an opera singer, and she'll be sharing some poetry and music with us. And also Sima Shahverdi, who will also be sharing some music and poetry with us. So without further ado, I'm going to read a couple poems from Rumi. This is from the collection Moon and Sun, translated by my friend Zara Hushmand, which I think beautifully captures why we are here. We are drunk on the wine that needs no cup, aglow in the morning, ecstatic all night. They say our paths lead nowhere. So what? We need no destination to be happy. They say heaven's a sublime paradise where nymphs and elixirs await. So now we grasp at love and wine in sweet anticipation of our fate. I'm going to ask Ariana to share a little bit about her passion for music and the specifics of her approach to her music as a singer and songwriter.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
I'm an opera singer and I learned the classical Occidental way from my father's side. I'm Iranian Zoroastrian and French from my mother's side. And I was looking for answers for myself, and I felt I need to fill a gap, I suppose. And so using this very old Zoroastrian poetry gave me answers deeply that I found links with different moments of my life. And the last story I composed on was the story of Anaïta. So it's the story of a woman today in Iran that is waking up in her village and see that it's all dry and water is gone. So she will go through the world and land in fire and find spirituality. She starts praying and she doesn't know why. This very old ancient song prayer is coming to her mouth. And so this was important for me just to show how my life in France is going far from my country, and how in this very ancient, from 3,000, 4,000 years ago, you can find linked to these very, very ancient prayers and stories. So I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you, that's beautiful. And it's certainly prescient for the times we're living in, a time of climate crisis, and looking for spiritual connection to our earth. So
exactly. And Anaïta was the goddess of femininity and water. So I found answers for myself from my femininity side, and the story of women before me, and also the lack of water in Iran. And when I saw the result, I thought, okay, so it was really something I needed to express and to put the link woman, water, and in myself to find the balance, femininity and masculinity, I suppose. So, and this story of Anaïta ends in Chak Chak. So the goddess Anaïta is showing this young girl that she has to go to Chak Chak, this very holy place for Zoroastrian. And so this story ends with this Rumi poetry that I will read for you. همه اجزای عالم عاشقانند و هر جزو جهان مست لقایی. اگر این آسمان عاشق نبودی، نبودی سینه او را صفایی. وگر خورشیدم عاشق نبودی، نبودی در جمال او ضیایی. زمین و کوه اگر نه عاشقندی، نرستی از دل هر دو گیاهی. اگر دریا ز عشق آگه نبودی، قراری داشتی آخر به جایی. Perhaps I can read it in French because this is my mother's tongue. Toutes les parcelles du monde aiment d'amour, et chaque parcelle d'un beau visage est enivrée. Ce ciel, s'il n'aimait pas d'amour, ne contiendrait pas en son sein la pureté. Si le soleil lui-même n'aimait pas d'amour, sa face n'aurait pas en elle cette clarté. Si la terre et les montagnes n'aimaient pas d'amour, les plantes dans leur ventre ne pourraient pas pousser. Et si la mer n'avait eu vent de l'amour, elle aurait trouvé une attache où se poser.
Merci.
Merci.
I'm so delighted that I have a sister because I too am French and Iranian. I'm delighted to shift gears a little bit, and we'll now hear some music from Ariana Vafadari, recorded at Freight Salvage in Berkeley on Saturday, December 4th. And she's going to share some of her original compositions from the book of the Avesta, the holy book of the Zoroastrians, and the way she's put those to music.
Oh
Next, I'm delighted to introduce Sima Shahverdi, who's coming to us to share music and poetry tonight. Sima Jun, can you share a little bit about your background in singing?
Of course. So my name is Sima Shahverdi, and I am a singer and a designer, and I started professional singing back in New York and worked with one of my friends and a composer named Nima Farzaneh on some original tunes, and also with some New York-based musicians on rearrange old folkloric music of Iran, and then I moved to California and now I'm here.
Wonderful, welcome. And I think we're going to hear one of your songs. Can you tell us a little bit about the song and the name of it before we listen?
Absolutely. So the name of the song is Kook, and we recorded the song during the summer of 2021. The music and lyrics is by Nima Farzaneh, and we collaborated with also some New York-based musicians, Kaveh, Haghtalab, Anoush, Saboktakin, and Yasi, Omrani are also playing in the song. And the name of it is Kook, which means tuned, and we thought it's the best gift to give to the people at the Yalda night.
Wonderful. Let's have a listen.
سرش مست و دلش تشت و صدای خندش کوک برش رفتم که آوازی دگر بهرش بخوانم کمی گشت و دمی جست و به من گفت برو آواز خود با دیگران خوان با بغضی از ترانه محزون از این زمانه رو به دریا کردم و آهی کشیدم شعر خود را دوباره با شوری عاشقانه با مرغان هوا کردم روانه سرش مست و دلش تشت و صدای خندش کوک برش رفتم که آوازی دگر بهرش بخوانم کمی گشت و دمی جست و به من گفت برو آواز خود با دیگران خوان فرسخ‌ها دور ز کویش دشتی گلگون چو رویش نسترن‌ها شاهدی بر شهد و بویش برزین اسبی از باد پیکی خاموش ز فریاد نغمه من پر کشید آرام به سویش سرش مست و دلش تشت و صدای خنده‌اش کوک برش رفتم که آوازی دگر بهرش بخوانم کمی گشت و دمی جست و به من گفت برو آواز خود با دیگران خوان با بغضی از ترانه محزون از این پیدا کردم و آهی کشیدم شعر خود را دوباره با شوری عاشقانه با مرغان هوا کردم روانه
And Sima, you're going to read some poetry for us too tonight. And I think you're like me, a fan of Rumi. So please share the poems you're going to read.
Sure. It's a poem from Rumi, Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi. بر هر جزء من نشان معشوق من است. هر پاره من زبان معشوق من است. چون چنگ منم در بر او تکیه زده این ناله ام از بنان معشوق من است. ترجمه‌شم به انگلیسی نوشتن Each part of me proclaims my love for her. Each scrap of me a tongue that speaks her name. I'm the lute in her arms, the flute at her lips, and my cries arise from her fingertips.
Perfect for a musician, singer.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sima.
Thank you.
I'm going to read a poem called Pomegranates. I love pomegranates, and when I was a child growing up in Walnut Creek, my Iranian father planted pomegranate trees, and we seemed to be the only people who understood what a special fruit they were. And this is in memory of my Baba. To root themselves in their new home, Mother and Baba planted native trees, madrone, oak, and the manzanita at the end of the drive. To remind them of their foreignness, they planted olive, almond, quince, pomegranate. The first time my mother packed one in my lunch, I shrank in embarrassment, quickly returning the leathery bulb to the brown bag. How to eat a pomegranate without being conspicuous? It is a slow and exacting endeavor, an act of worship. You never slice them with a knife, my father would say, when the September heat made the trees sag with the ornaments of autumn. In his world, men sold them on the streets for a few tumans, shouting, "Anare khoshmaze," delicious pomegranates, rolling the sun-flushed hides between two palms. Customers at the corner of a cart kneaded, coaxed the last of the blood-red juice from a hole, allowing it to touch only their lips. Our American sensibility refused this technique. We never took their exotic form for granted. "Throw them in the air, let them crack open," my brothers yelled, waiting for the quiet thud and then the invisible seam that split them open like an unhealed wound. We liked the splatter of color on face and hands, evidence of pomegranate carnage. In my 20s, I finally understood the fecund symbol. A magazine in the chiropractor's office advised women wanting to conceive, eat estrogen-rich foods, shrimp, scallops, pomegranates. Like the larvae of some magical butterfly, the red ovules offered a cure for barren women. There are two kinds of people in the world, those who pluck the seeds from the waxy yellow membrane, tossing them into their mouths, and those who hoard the ruby jewels, jealously guarding the pile until the last kernel is extracted. Once in a child's game of war, my brother plucked a pomegranate, tore its feathery crown, and with a heave mimicked the sound of a grenade exploding with his mouth full of saliva. "Bury it," I said, looking at its inedible remains. Baba would not tolerate such sacrilege. When I learned a Sephardic version of the fall, that it was a pomegranate and not an apple, I felt a kind of secret pride. "It's too cold for apples in the Garden of Eden," I told a friend, knowing with certainty they wouldn't be wearing fig leaves. This fall, my 2-year-old son, undaunted, eats his first pomegranate. His tiny probing fingers harvest the seeds one by one. With hands stained by this baptism, he offers them to me like the remnants of an untold story inherited in the womb.
That was amazing. That's so touching.
They're so beautiful.
I